In the race for market domination, smartphone manufacturers are seemingly pulling out all the stops to sway consumers to their camp. However, these days it's not just about the handset, it's whether it has the operating system to make your life easier on both a personal and professional level. Now joining me in studio to give us some insight into the smartphone arena is Paulo Ferreira, Head of Mobile Product and Business Solutions at Samsung South Africa.
Hi Natascha.
Paulo, welcome.
Thank you.
Now, as alluded to in my intro, it seems that the mobile phone industry has shifted from selling phones to selling content. Would you agree with this sentiment?
Very much so. I mean, the way to look at the handset these days is it's a very powerful device. People are starting to compare the device to laptops, to the typical workstation that you would use in your day-to-day environment from a professional perspective. As these devices become more powerful, so the software on them needs to match up to the hardware and the features of the respective devices. So what's important to understand here is how the manufacturers start differentiating themselves from a software and a content perspective. So you're spot on. It's about the apps. It's about what is relevant to me as a consumer and how does it benefit me and make me more productive in my day-to-day.
Now the apps run on an operating system, and according to the latest market share info, Android is the top performing operating system in Europe. As a company who utilizes Android, what do you expect for the local market on both a consumer and a business level?
So from a consumer point of view, the interesting point of Android is the fact that if you look at the Android market itself, which is one of the benefits of the operating system, there are over 200,000 applications which the consumer can download. So this is of interest to us as consumers because it allows us to now get the applications which are relevant to us. You know, I might have a specific interest in sport, a particular hobby, and chances are I'll find an application which will meet that particular requirement or, what I want to do with that particular application. From a business point of view, I can then start looking at what applications are out there. You know, if I'm in the financial services industry, potentially I want to look at, stock levels. Potentially I want to look at the latest news from a financial services perspective. And I do have those applications now on the market which allow me to then download and, enrich my productivity, get me more up to speed in terms of what's happening, current trends and so on. And those are just some of the different opportunities and solutions which exist out there.
I mentioned Android is the top performing OS in Europe. How's it doing in South Africa and Africa in particular? So
we're very much in the infancy stage in South Africa right now. I think the point to remember is with regards to smartphones, as there is competition in the market, as the vendors try to out-innovate each other, so the price of the smartphone drops. As the price of the smartphone drops, so it finds itself into the hands of more consumers. What then happens is the consumer starts asking the question around, well, what is the benefit for me? What are those applications that I can start using? And even though we're in the infancy stage of Android in the country, we see the operating system, that particular platform, growing at a phenomenal rate. Very similar to what's happening right now in the world, in the mature markets. The growth of Android has been phenomenal.
Price is always an indicative. Is Android competitively priced to products such as BlackBerry? We know South Africa is a BlackBerry nation at the moment.
Yeah, so it's a really good question, and I think again, as competitors try and out-innovate each other, so the features find a way further down into the pyramid, so that the devices become more affordable and more feature-rich. And as that starts to happen, obviously then the consumer and the productivity of the consumer increases as well. So Android is becoming competitive, and I think the interesting thing over here is because there are more than one manufacturer actually promoting Android, again that competition drives the price of the devices down even further. And that's a great sign for the consumer, because the consumer now is enriched with a powerful handset, a powerful operating system, and again the rich ecosystem of applications that exist around that operating system.
Now you mentioned a lot of manufacturers are running on Android, but you've got competition in the form of BlackBerry, in the form of iPhone. And although Nokia is still running on Symbian, it's taking on Microsoft pretty soon. How do you feel that will impact the market?
I think competition is always healthy, right? Again, the consumer is going to benefit. I think one of the ways to look at this as well is if you're looking at a corporate customer doesn't really like to be told what operating system platform they should be using in their environment. They like to have choice. I think one of the things that vendors are starting to look at as well is to offer that choice to the consumer and to the corporate customer, because what that then does, it gives you a bigger pool of applications and a bigger choice of operating systems to choose from, and to choose the right ones which are relevant to that particular environment, to that particular vertical organization. So at the end of the day, that choice is definitely a good thing for the consumer.
Now you touched on applications. Applications have become a norm, a way of life for many smartphone users. How are these applications impacting the business landscape, and how are employees now undertaking their day-to-day tasks as opposed to 2 or 3 years ago?
Yeah, so the biggest challenge right now for any IT manager is as these devices start becoming more and more affordable, so they start finding their way into again the mass market, right? So previously, corporate customers used to make smartphones available and allow access to the corporate network to the select few. But as they now start becoming mass type of devices, there's pressure from the bottom up. So the user in the corporate environment is starting to put pressure on the IT manager and asking the questions of, why can't I get access to the corporate assets, right? So the biggest challenge that the corporate IT manager has got right now is firstly security. Mm-hmm. How do I ensure that this device is a secure device and that's accessing those corporate assets? And if the device gets lost, if it gets into the wrong hands, how can I protect the information that's on that particular device? The second challenge that a corporate IT manager has got is, how do I manage the device in the corporate environment? How do I provision applications onto the device? How do I take those applications which I've written, particularly for my organization, and ensure that those applications are available for that end user? Now, there's a multitude of different applications out there, both in the market, third parties make these applications available as well. And what they do is they facilitate that job of the IT manager to ensure that security is addressed and to ensure that they can manage these devices in the corporate environment.